Oh my God, you guys, today's video is super risky because I am going to be attempting to talk about a topic in which I have no real life experience. But in an effort to really embrace inclusivity here on my channel, I thought I'd go ahead and give it a go. So if you are curious, then please keep on watching. Hey Stitches, it's your girl Kris. Welcome if you're new, and if you're an OG, then welcome back to the channel. Let me just start today's video by saying a huge thank you to each and every one of you who watched and commented on my Love Notions shirt face off. Oh my goodness, I received so many kind comments, and some of you even went a step further and shopped the Love Notions spring sale using my code. I am really grateful to each of you, not only for your coins spent, but also for your time. That, in my view, is invaluable. The fact that you keep coming back to watch my videos means a lot to me. And I know that the people who watch my videos don't all look like me. And that leads me to the topic of today's video. So I generally sew a lot of big 5 patterns, and I sew them because I've already bought them and they're in my stash. And I do quite like a lot of them. And I think what really pushes me a step further is that I have become so familiar and so comfortable, for the most part, with the Big 5 pattern block. The problem with the Big 5 pattern company is that even though they have made a little attempt over the last couple of years to extend their sizing ranges, they are still not considered size inclusive. Now, I did a quick search on Google and I found the Cashmerette website, and I had Googled what is considered to be plus size. And I found that a bust measurement that goes up to 60 inches and a hip measurement that goes up to 60 inches is considered to be plus size and therefore size inclusive. Now, I know some of you who are watching this video might be on the opposite end of the spectrum. You are smaller than what the Big 5 pattern drafts for. And unfortunately, today's video is not going to be targeted towards you. Today, I am targeting those of you who are considered to be plus size. And this is where I said, I'm taking a risk, you guys, because I consider myself to be mid-size. I'm just going to step back so you guys can see. I fall within generally about a size 12 all the way up to a size 20, really depending on which pattern company I am using. Now, the size number isn't really as important as are the measurements. And for your measurements, you want to have your high bust measurement, your bust measurement, your waist measurement, and your hip measurement. Obviously, there are lots more measurements in between that you can take that will help you to tweak the fit. But in terms of your starting size and in terms of selecting your patterns, you at least need to have these 4 measurements. Now, on a side note, I had done 2 videos here on the channel talking about how to get the best fit. The first video was targeted towards actually taking the measurements and how those measurements would help you to choose your starting size. And the second one dealt with how to go ahead and make some basic fitting adjustments. So if any of these videos sound like it might be helpful to you, then I'll go ahead and pop the link in right here and then right here so that you can easily reference those 2 videos. Now, because I consider myself to be a mid-size sewist, as a matter of fact, I think many would consider me to be a mid-size sewist, I am a little bit hesitant about talking about plus size sewing. Now, I am a proponent for inclusivity in the sewing community. When it comes to size, when it comes to race, ethnicity, location, I feel like none of that really should matter. And truth be told, I have often felt excluded in some ways from our sewing community. One, because of the color of my skin, and more fundamentally because of my location. I am a small island girl. I live on a tiny rock that nobody has heard of. And so sometimes it feels just like I'm on an island all by myself. In reality, I am on an island all by myself, at least so far as sewing as a hobby is concerned. But I don't necessarily want to feel like that. And I think that is part of the reason why this YouTube sewing community is so important to me. And I just want to take a minute to say thank you guys for accepting me as I am, a small black island girl. Anyways, In the same way that I would not want anybody who is not the same race as me to tell me how to be black, it is the same sort of thinking I'm having. How can I talk to plus size sewists about plus size sewing and plus size patterns if I myself am not plus size? And herein lies the danger. So, disclaimer, I do not have any intentions whatsoever to step on anybody's toes. I have no experience myself of being a plus size sewist, but I do value you as a member of my community, and so I am trying my best to be very inclusive in the information that I provide here. And that is really what is the motivating factor for today's video. Now, as I said, I sew a lot of big five patterns. Lots of them are cute, but they are not size inclusive. So what I've gone ahead and done, I have picked 5 big five patterns and have attempted to find dupes in the indie pattern sewing world that are considered to be much more size inclusive. I'm hoping that you guys will agree with my assessments of these patterns. And if you don't, call me out in the comment section. But I am asking that you do so respectfully. I have no difficulty with any of you schooling me on an area that I am not 100% knowledgeable about. I am completely open to it, but I'm just asking that we do so in a respectful manner. Just as the same way I do not intend to step on anybody's toes with the information I'm providing, I'm hoping that you guys will return the favor. No, I have made notes on my notes app, and so I am going to be using my laptop because trying to remember all this information off the top of my head is not going to work. And so I have resorted to writing it down. So it means that if you see me looking down from time to time, it's because I'm consulting my notes, you guys. I want to be as accurate as I can with the information that I'll provide. Now, just before we get into the brunt of today's video, I also wanted to remind you guys that the latest pattern release from Love Notions, the bluegrass shirt and shirt dress pattern, is currently on release sale. You can now use my code Unsewcial and save yourself 10% off the release sale pricing. Now, if you want more information about this shirt, I did share some in Friday's video. I actually am wearing it today. It is now completed, unlike in Friday's video, where there was a lot going on, especially in the boob area. Oh my goodness, when I look back at the video, it's like, oh my God, Kristen, did you really do that? But I was able to finish it with these pearl buttons. I still have no buttons on my cuffs, and so I have rolled them up. Now, the bluegrass pattern, I think, is borderline size inclusive in that it ranges from an extra small up to a 5X. And for Love Notion sizing, that ranges from a full bust of 33 inches up to a full bust of 57.5 inches. And there are actually 2 bust cup options included in Love Notions patterns, a standard bust and a full bust piece. And the full bust piece often has larger finished garment measurements that I think will top this pattern up to a 60-inch at the bust line. So whether you are a mid-size sewist or you are a plus-size sewist, then this pattern is going to be, I think, perfect for your wardrobe. Now, those of you who are on the smaller end of the spectrum, I did say that this pattern starts at a 33-inch. I'm not really sure what measurements are considered to be petite. I think 33 or thereabouts is a decent starting point. But as I pointed out earlier, feel free to let me know if you disagree. If you have a lot more experience in these particular areas than I do, then share them down below, because you might be helping me, but you might also be helping others who have come to my video to glean some information and some laughter. Right, now that that is all out of the way, let's jump into today's patterns. Now, the first pattern I want to talk about is McCall's 8003. Let me scooch a little bit this way so I can drop the line drawings right here. McCall's 8003 is a knit pattern. It is actually a top pattern. But you know your girl, I went ahead and hacked it into a dress, and I was so pleased with this finished dress, you guys. It was cute, it was sexy, it was glamorous, it fit me almost to a T. There was just room for a tiny little tweak right across the chest line, but overall, it was a pretty good make, and a lot of you commented that you liked my pattern hack. But of course, this is not a size inclusive pattern. Right, folks, so I had a little bit of an interruption and I actually hit pause on recording this video. So for those of you who think that I am Wonder Woman and I have all of this time to do all of my sewing and recording in one go. That is certainly not the case. But I'm back and I'm trying to remember what I was talking about. It was the sizing, I think, for McCall's 8003. Now, the size for the bust is 30.5 inches up to 44 inches and 31.5 inches up to 46 inches for the hips. Definitely quite far from that 60-inch marking that I indicated earlier is considered to be size inclusive. Now, the M8003, in addition to the sizing, I think I already told you it is meant for knit fabrics, and it only comes with long sleeves. There are, however, two neckline finishes. It has like a neckband situation, and then it has this mock turtleneck type of neckline. I think when I made mine, I actually went for the mock turtleneck neckline, which was quite foreign to me. I usually don't like anything around my neckline, but I said, let me give it a try, and I actually really liked it. I wore my dress for an entire day. It didn't feel super uncomfortable, at least not as uncomfortable as I thought it would have. And so if you are like me and you don't like things around your neckline, do not discount this pattern just because of the neckline. Now, those are the features of McCall's 8003. And now let me bring to you the plus size alternatives. So the first one I want to talk about is the Pattern Emporium Flossom dress. Now, the Flossom comes as both a top and a dress actually, which is definitely different to the McCall's 8003 in that that pattern only comes as a top, but as you can see is easily hackable into a dress. The work has been done for you on the Pattern Emporium Flossom in that it already has the dress option. In terms of the sizing, which is the most important thing for today's discussion, it comes in a size 27.5 inches up to 54.75 inches for the bust, and then 31.5 inches up to 58.75 inches for the bust. All right, you guys, hear me out. It doesn't quite hit the 60-inch mark, but I thought it was fairly close, especially as compared to the McCall's 8003. Now, like the 8003, it has the cutout detail at the neckline, and I just think this neckline is really, really sexy, you guys, without being over the top. It's not like you have your whole boob situation on display. It's just a tiny peak of skin right above the bust line and right below the collarbone. It is gorgeous, in my opinion. Now, the Flossom is finished with bands or with bias binding, and it has several different sleeve options. Now, there's a slimline sleeve, and then there is an easy fit sleeve. And under those two umbrellas, there's still more sub-classifications. So as far as the slimline sleeve is concerned, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm being tongue-tied, you guys. As far as the slimline sleeve is So far as the slimline sleeve is concerned, it comes in long, 3/4 and short with a flounce. And then for the easy fit sleeve, there is a cap sleeve and a short sleeve. So definitely way more options than with the McCall's pattern. Now, this one is designed for a 4-way stretch knit. I think I forgot to say that McCall's 8003 has been designed for a 2-way stretch knit. This one is semi-fitted in the bodice. I think the McCall's one is as well. And there are 2 length cutting lines so far as the top is concerned. And then with the dress, there is a mini option, a knee length option, a midi option, and a maxi length. You guys, can you already see how this indie pattern is knocking the McCall's pattern out of the park? I love the McCall's pattern, you guys, and I've already fitted it. And for that reason and that reason alone, because it is quite similar to this pattern, I probably won't go ahead and get the Flossom. But if you like this silhouette, then definitely consider getting the Pattern Emporium Flossom over the McCall's 8003. Even if you are not in the larger size range, because it has so many different variables, I think that this one packs more bang for your buck. Now, the dress for the Flossom also has an optional center back seam, and that makes for additional opportunities to refine the fit and shape out the curvature of the back. And there are lots of hand-holding guidelines in the tutorials. Wow, you guys, I am impressed. Now, I do have another alternative to McCall's 8003. That one is the Itch to Stitch Brisbane. And it does have options for a regular bust and for a full bust. I'm not sure that the Pattern Emporium Flossom has the distinction between a standard bust and a full bust. Even though it has such an extensive size range, I think it's just for one bust cup size. So far as the Itch to Stitch is concerned, there is an option for a regular bust and for a full bust. And it comes as a top and a dress like the Flossom. It has a scoop neckline. I think it might be finished with a binding. And then it has short sleeves and of course is designed for knit fabrics. But let us talk about the sizing of the Itch to Stitch Brisbane. So for the sizing for the bust, it ranges from a 31 1/8 inch up to a 60 inch for the regular bust, and then 34 1/8 of an inch up to 63 inches for the full bust. Oh my word. This one definitely beats both of the other two patterns in terms of the size range. Now for the hips, it comes in a 33 1/8 inch all the way up to a 62 inch. So well done, Candice of Itch to Stitch. This pattern definitely, with no doubt, falls within the plus size structure. So that's good. Now, I'm not going to go much further into the features of the Brisbane because I have given you the main features and it is very similar in the silhouette to the Flossom and to McCall's 8003. So I'm hoping you guys found that comparison helpful, and I'm treading lightly here, but I'm moving on to pattern number 2. So the second pattern I wanted to talk about is actually a woven wrap dress pattern, because who doesn't like a wrap dress and who doesn't like a woven wrap dress? I am definitely team wovens over team knits, even though this year I have been exploring a little bit more with my knit fabrics. And so I'm particularly excited about this one. So the wrap dress pattern I want to talk about is McCall's 8036, and specifically view A of 8036. Now, I have not made 8036 as yet, but I do have it in my stash and I am considering sewing it up. It's just that, you guys, there are so many ambitions so far as sewing is concerned, and really and truly so little time. I feel like there's always something that sort of derails all of my sewing plans, and then instead of doing A, I end up doing B, and then I don't get back to A, and then whoo. Anyways, 8036 in view A. I love the wrap dress feature and I loved the flounce feature and the puff sleeves. Now, unfortunately, the wrap dress pattern comes in a size 30.5 inches up to 44 inches for the bust, and then 31.5 inches up to 46 inches for the hips. You will notice that I'm not referring to the actual sizing by number, because as I said, it really just varies in terms of the pattern companies. What is really important is the measurements. This pattern also comes with a self-tie or a sash. It has short or 3/4 length sleeves. It is a puff sleeve, as I said. And then, of course, there's this double ruffle at the hemline. So the pattern that I have chosen to compare to McCall's 8036 is from Ellie and Mac. And I have actually never sewn an Ellie and Mac pattern. So this one is going to be new to me, and maybe it is to some of you as well. And I am referencing the Ellie and Mac Leonie wrap top. It comes as a top or a dress, and there are 3 different hemlines and a ruffle addition. You guys, yet another interruption. My lovely son is calling. Say hi. Come and say hi. You want to say hi. So come and say hi. Come. Are you going to come and say hi?
Yes.
Okay. Say hello.
Hello.
Pardon my interruption, you guys. Life with kids and trying to sew. That's exactly the reality of the situation. Go on, scooch. Go on. Right, you guys, that is interruption number 2. Woo! My goodness, what was I saying? I think I might have been talking about the different hemlines. Right, so the Leonie wrap top and dress comes with 3 different hemlines, and it has the ruffle addition. Unlike the McCall's pattern, the Ellie and Mac Leonie only has 1 ruffle instead of 2, but that is very simple, in my opinion, to pattern hack. Now, there are 3 different sleeve options. There's a short sleeve, an elbow length sleeve, both of which are puff sleeves, and then there are longer balloon sleeves. So that is a difference as well between this one and the McCall's one, in that there is no option for a long sleeve with the McCall's pattern. But again, that too I think is a fairly easy pattern hack. Now, importantly, let's get down to the sizing. The Elian Macleone is drafted for a bust of 31.5 inches up to 59 inches, and then a hip of 33.5 inches up to 72 inches. So again, completely knocks that McCall's pattern out of the park. So if you like the line drawings for the McCall's pattern, you like the wrap dress, you like the tie front, you like the ruffles, you like the puff sleeve, then the Elian Macleone is a perfect dupe for you to check out. Right. Let's move on now to a long trouser pattern. And the pattern that I have chosen is Simplicity 3036. I freaking love this pattern. Wide leg trousers are having another moment in terms of the spring trends. This one has a pin tuck down the center front. To shift it a little bit more in focus with the spring trends, I would probably go ahead and hack it and put the sports stripe down the side of the leg. But that is not what today's video is about. I did share the spring trends. I think it might have been last week, Tuesday. So if you're curious, then be sure to go ahead and check out this video and pre-all my spring and summer trends and the patterns that I was suggesting. Now, this one has a pin tuck down the center front. It has wide legs. It has an elastic waist, and it has a drawstring as well. Now, the Simplicity 3036 is drafted for a hip of 33.5 inches up to 50 inches. It is designed for both woven fabrics and for stable knit fabrics. It has slash pockets. It has, as I said before, the pin tuck, the elastic waist, and the drawstring detail. Now, I have two patterns that I am comparing to the Simplicity pattern, and the first one is the NH Patterns Sienna trousers. Now, there is a difference between the Simplicity pattern and the Sienna trousers in that the Sienna trousers does not have the pin tuck detail down the leg. I think, you guys, that adding that pin tuck detail is a fairly simple hack. And so I thought I could still reference this pattern even though it omitted that particular detail. Now, the Sienna trousers has been drafted for woven fabrics only, and it has a high waist, the elastic waistband, the drawstring, the wide leg, and it also has side seam pockets. Now, it has been drafted for a hip size of 34 inches up to 60 inches. So bang on the plus size 60-inch demarcation. Perfect. Now, in addition to the Sienna trousers, I also want to talk about the Winnie trousers from Made for Mermaids. My girl Carmen, CAG Reinvented, both here on YouTube and over on Instagram, is always hollering you guys about the Winnie trousers. And she has convinced me to pick them up, but I have not yet sewn them up. Now, the Winnie trousers, let's get the sizing out of the way, has been drafted for a 34-inch up to a 64-inch. So definitely the most size inclusive of the bunch. It is designed for mid-weight stable or knit fabrics. So just like the Simplicity pattern, you can use like something like a ponte knit for both the Simplicity pattern and for this pattern. You can probably use a ponte knit for the Sienna trousers as well, but maybe you might consider sizing down 1 or 2 sizes just for a more snug fit, since you're using something that has a little bit of stretch. Now, it does have the pin tuck down the leg line, and so it is more a bang-on dupe to the Simplicity pattern than is the Sienna trouser. And it also has 2 rise options, a mid-rise and a high-rise. And it also has the elastic waist and the drawstring. The one thing I'm not certain about is pockets. I'm actually not sure if the Winnie trousers has pockets. It does have 6 different inseam lengths, you guys. 6. And it also has 3 waistband options. So definitely more features in the Winnie trousers than the Sienna trousers, and also definitely much more than the Simplicity pattern. Now, if this wide leg trouser with this pin tuck detail, the elastic waistline, and the drawstring catches your eyes, but you do not fit into the Simplicity size range, or if for any other reason you do not want to buy a Big 5 pattern, then definitely go ahead and check out the NH Sienna and for sure the Made for Mermaids Winnie trousers. Now, the fourth pattern I want to talk about is actually a diagonal gathered tier dress. And the pattern in mind is McCall's 8506. Now, on a side note, I know I'm referring to a lot of McCall's patterns, but of the big 5 patterns, I really do gravitate towards the McCall's patterns, and then the simplicity patterns, and then the Nomi patterns. So you might find that I refer to them more frequently than the other subcategories in the big 5 sizing, but I'm sure maybe you can find other alternatives in Butterick and Berta and New Look and so on and so forth. Now, the McCall's 8506 is a gathered tiered dress. And when this one hit the scene, I was like, ooh, that is nice. But I was a little bit hesitant about trying this pattern because I'm like, oh, that is a lot of gathering. I'm sure it's worth it in the end, but I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I like the gathered effect. I don't so much like doing the gathering. Anyways, the gathered tier dress comes in a sleeveless option, or it has thin straps. It also has side pockets and a scooped neckline. Now, M8506 is only a dress in that there is no top or blouse alternative, although you probably could hack it into a top or blouse fairly easily. Now, 8506 has been drafted for a bust of 31.5 inches up to 48 inches, and hips of 33.5 inches up to 50 inches. So definitely falling very short of that 60-inch marking. And so the dupe that I'm going to suggest to you today is the Closet Core Azure dress. Now, the Azure is also sleeveless, but it does have like thick, I don't even want to call it straps. I don't think you even call it straps. It's just a thicker shoulder width than is the McCall's 8506. It comes as a dress. It also has an optional skirt and an optional blouse. So definitely a capsule wardrobe can actually be built out of this one pattern. It has a jewel neckline, which is higher up than the McCall's 8506, but lowering your neckline or changing the shape of the neckline, in my opinion, should be a fairly easy hack as well. I'm not sure whether the Azure comes with pockets, but I did mention, I think, that the McCall's 8506 does have pockets. And I feel like it's easy enough to add pockets to this dress. You would sew up the entire front dress first, and then sew up the entire back dress, and then add your side seam pockets, and then sew the side seams. I'm pretty sure that's not what the instructions are going to tell you to do. I have not read the instructions for myself, but I can only imagine, based on how the Big 5 instructions usually are, that they're going to have you construct the entire circumference of the tiers, tier 1 to tier 2, tier 2 to tier 3, and so on and so forth. So again, I think you can easily add pockets to the Closet Core Azure if you construct it in the way that I have suggested. Now, in terms of sizing, the Closet Core Azure is drafted for a 31-inch bust up to a 60-inch bust, and then a hip of 33 inches up to 63 inches. So without a doubt, the Closet Core Azure falls within the plus size sizing range. So if you like this gathered dress situation, if it is getting really hot where you are, and you want a nice long maxi dress for summer, then I think that both the McCall's pattern, if you fit the size range, or the Closet Core Azure could be fantastic maxi dresses. And then you can tweak the pattern. I'm sure you can change the length of the tiers and the proportions of the tiers and really just mix up and have some fun playing with this silhouette. Right, so the final pattern I want to talk about is a fly front denim skirt. And the pattern that I have in mind so far as Big 5 is concerned is McCall's 8149. It has a fly front, or it does have a front zipper option. It has a back yoke, and then there are pockets on both the front of the skirt and the back of the skirt. And I actually think it might also have belt loops. I think it does have belt loops as well. Now, 8149 has been drafted for a hip of 33.5 inches up to 56 inches, which I think comes the closest so far as the patterns that we have spoken about today from the Big 5 are concerned to that 60-inch marking. It is 4 inches short of being considered size inclusive. So I really, really wish the Big 5 would take a little bit more time to expand their sizing range all the way up to that 60-inch marking. Now, the pattern I want to compare to the McCall's 8149 is the Cashmerette Ellis skirt. Now, I have never sewn a cashmere pattern as well, and cashmere drafts for the plus size sewist. And in addition to that, I think they draft with two different body shapes in mind, an apple shape and a pear shape. I hope I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm giving you guys accurate information. Now, my sister-in-law has sewn, I think, with cashmere patterns, and I have heard wonderful things in the sewing community about cashmere as well. So definitely go ahead and check out the cashmere Ellis. Now, it is a denim skirt. It is designed for stretch wovens. It has two different pelvis shape options. I think that is so far as the yoke is concerned. And it also has front and back pockets as well. Now, the cashmere Ellis has been drafted for a waist of 32 inches up to 52 inches, and then the hip of 42 inches for the apple or 43 inches for the pear, up to a 62-inch for the apple and then a 63-inch for the pear. So far as inclusivity is concerned, cashmere actually is exclusive, I say, to the plus size sewist, maybe mid-size to plus size sewist. It does not include patterns, or at least not this pattern, for those of you who fall in the smaller circumference measurements of your sizing. So please bear that in mind. If you like this skirt pattern and you are on the smaller sizing range, then check out McCall's 8149. But if you are the upper end of a mid-size sewist and a plus size sewist, then definitely check out the cashmere Ellis. Now, the McCall's pattern, I think, is pictured in a faux leather, but you can easily substitute that for denim fabric, and then it will be bang on in terms of the look of the pattern with the cashmere Ellis pattern. So if you are after a denim skirt, denim is definitely trending, you guys. It is having a moment. It is not going anywhere anytime soon. At least I don't think so. Then go ahead and give the cashmere Ellis pattern a go. Woo! You guys, I did it. Those were the 5 patterns from the Big 5 and their respective indie pattern size inclusive dupes that I wanted to talk about in today's video. I'm sure I could have shared many more patterns. I could have taken some more time and done some more research, but I figured that 5 patterns would be a good starting point. As I said at the beginning of this video, I'm not sure I would take kindly to somebody who is not black telling me how to be black. And I wasn't certain how you guys would respond or receive this video. And I'm hoping you found it insightful. I'm hoping you liked my dupe suggestions. And I'm hoping most of all that I was in no way offensive. Again, that was certainly not my intention. If I have managed to offend anybody, then I sincerely apologize. But I'm really, really hoping that I did not. I'm hoping that this video will resonate with many of you. Now, if you did like today's video, then be sure to go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And it's super important, you guys, for you to thumbs up this video, because I need to know that you guys are interested in this type of content. And not only this type of content, but this type of content coming from me, a mid-size sewist, somebody who has no on hands sort of experience with being a plus size sewist. It's so important for me to make the distinction, not because I want to categorize anybody necessarily, but again, I feel like speaking from my own experience, it is difficult receiving information from people who do not necessarily identify with your position. So this is going to be interesting, but I will await your comments. So drop me some comments down below and let me know whether you found this video to be insightful, whether you thought my pattern suggestions did in fact fall within the plus size sizing situation. What did you think of the silhouettes of the patterns? Did you like the silhouettes of the patterns? So far as the Big 5 are concerned, even if you don't fit into their sizing, did you like the silhouettes that I presented? And then and therefore liked the pattern dupes that I suggested? Again, I have lots of experience sewing Big 5 patterns, but I'm hoping to venture out a lot more into sewing more indie patterns so that when I give my reviews, it can take into consideration a wider audience. That is the goal. That is not to say that I'm never going to sew big five patterns, because I am. I already spent my money, I already own them, and so I'm definitely going to sew them. But I also want to pay a little bit more attention to the indie patterns that I have in my stash, particularly those that are considered to be size inclusive. Now, if you have gotten this far in today's video and you're not a subscriber, then please do consider subscribing on your way out. Your subscriptions are free to you. They are great for me. It guarantees your spot here in my sewing community, but it also lets other people know that people are actually interested in what I'm saying, and hopefully encourage others to also join my YouTube sewing family. Right, you guys, that is all I needed to bring to you for today's video. So until next time, stay calm, stay cool, stay safe, and absolutely keep sewing. Oh, by the way, I owe you guys my Frock Tales video. Oh my gosh. It is coming, you guys. It is coming. Oh, it is coming. It is coming. It is coming. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Peace.